Three. Hello, you guys. This is Genesis.
Hey, it's Sam, and this is a very special episode.
Yes. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. We have our good friend with us, and we've been friends with her for years, and we always have super great conversations. So honestly, this was like, I don't know what they say, but this was just long overdue.
Very long overdue.
So our friend, go ahead. Let us know why you are here today.
Wait, do the drum roll. Go.
Thank you both Sam and Jen for having me on Girl Please. I mean, I've been a fan since the conception, since the pre-birth of the podcast, right?
Yes.
So my name is Crystal from Ultra Magica. That is my little company name.
Which I love, by the way. Love it. Absolutely love it. I am a #1 fan to your conception.
Thank you, my love. So I am a tarot reader. I am a writer. I like to write poetry. I am a dreamer. I use tarot as a guidance and as a prompt to invoke intuition and the unconscious through poetry and dreams.
So
lately,
one of the things that, I'm sorry to cut you off. This is what we do all the time.
Get used to this.
Damn.
I just want to let our listeners know one of the reasons why we wanted Crystal. See, and we knew we were going to do this because whatever. So
at least tell them. I mean, I'm Oz, and then I might say Mambo. That's because it's you.
Yeah. I mean, we all have nicknames from college, but that's besides the point. So one of the reasons why we wanted Crystal to come on this episode is because I am a firm believer of tarot reading, zodiac signs, and all that stuff like that. Jen, on the other hand, she's like,
I'm not so much on the horoscopes. I'm really not. But with tarot cards, honestly, I haven't been that exposed to them. So I'm more of a believer on like that end, and I don't know if that makes me like a hypocrite or something, or like I don't know where I lie. But like with horoscopes, I'm a Sagittarius, and there's like I used to read my horoscope before every day, and I felt like it wasn't true.
Right.
So I would read it sometimes, and I'm like, that's so not me. So that's when I stopped believing it. But with tarot cards, you know, maybe you like it's always been an interest of mine. I never got into it. So, you know, maybe this is like the beginning of like a new life for me. So let's get started. So like, let's, you know, like tell us more.
And then also too, I think another reason why, you know, I really love Crystal when she does her tarot reading is that we both got into it when we went to New Orleans, remember?
Right, yes. So I feel like, okay, yeah.
All of us, all three of us.
I want to know, like, that's always something that I wanted to ask you too. And I guess I never got to, you know, like after you get your thing, I definitely have my like list of questions here. So like, you know, before you were rudely interrupted,
sorry.
Let's keep going with your spiel.
Okay, I mean, all right. So where do I start? So I guess let's start from the very, 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 very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So with Noah. Yeah, so
okay.
It was back in 2015 when all three of us went on a wonderful trip to New Orleans. And for me...
It wasn't wonderful. It was catastrophically fun.
Yo, it was the best trip of my life. If it wasn't for that trip...
To this day, it's like up here. It's just, wow.
Head on a pedestal.
When are we going back? And I'm like, when are we going back? So for me... something about New Orleans, I mean, I've never been to New Orleans. I mean, both of you never been to New Orleans up until the moment when we all went together, right?
Mm-hmm,
and while I was there, I kept feeling this vibe where I was like, okay, well, there's some magic going on with this city. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get myself some sort of gift, some sort of souvenir, something that embodied the magic that I was feeling with New Orleans. And I didn't know what the hell that was at the time. I just know that, you know, we had friends in our trip that wanted to go to different souvenir shops, and I wasn't feeling it with a t-shirt. I wasn't feeling it with a bracelet. Like that wasn't what New Orleans.
That's what we did. We felt it with that damn grenade drink. That's what's
Hell yeah. I mean, Bourbon Street is always fun. The grenades and the music. But I felt something that I kind of want to like, what's the word? encapsulate it in like a single
Yeah.
object that I could take with me
like
back
that
home.
word.
How do you say it?
Encapsulate.
Encapsulated.
Sounds sexual. Encapsulate me.
Girl, you know.
We'll get into that. Give us some time. Hold on. You jumping the gun. Sorry.
All right. So the thing with me, like, I actually never, now looking back at it now, I never actually really knew what tarot cards were before that trip. I knew that there were, I knew that there was.
I mean, I knew what it was too, but being that you're so into it, I thought you went there with the sole purpose because you were so into this already. That's crazy. Okay, cool.
No, like in my mind, I knew that some cards or like something exists that was mystical that could talk a little bit about the future or divination, but it really wasn't the thought of what I know tarot cards to be today.
Got it.
And
right.
it wasn't until Sam and I entered some random little store off the corner of Bourbon Street.
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
It was called
was it like
Esoterica.
It was.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like very witchy, and it was like, it was.
Wait, was that when it was us three?
I think so.
Was I like, was it? It wasn't necessary. I think we were on our way back from the French Quarter. Right, I think so, and it was like in a street, and it was like this very small, and
it was like off to the side.
I think I know exactly which one.
I saw like a little sign or something, and I was like, oh, like let's go in, and there was there were jars full of herbs, and there was a woman behind the counter, and Sam and I were like, okay, like WTF, what's going on? What do you have to offer? And I don't know what led the conversation to, oh, hey, look at, our tarot cards, but it did. And the woman at the store showed us tarot cards, and both Sam and I are like flipping through it, and each of us bought a deck of cards.
I lost mine.
So I was going to say, well, I don't know about what you're doing, but ever since then, I mean, are
you still using the same deck of cards now?
No. So I stopped using the cards up until like the beginning of 2020. But the reason being is because I found a new deck, which I will be using later on during the reading. And the reason is because this one deck, it's called the Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Sterle. And this one deck, it follows the same pattern as the deck that I bought in New Orleans, which is the Rider-Waite Smith deck. What's different about it is that it shows people of color. It shows more women, which I am totally here for. Right. So cool. It's the same format, just I would say different imagery that's more encompassing of
more relatable. Right, it's relatable to the reader and to what would you call the other person on the other side? Salud. What would you call the other person on the other side when you're reading them? When you're reading the cards?
I struggle with this every day. The reading, the questionnaire.
I know, right? Whatever. But the person who's receiving your reading, I guess let's call it that. But that's interesting because that makes it more relatable to that other person. So I love that. That's great.
So like when you're doing someone's reading, like how many cards do you put down? Is there like a certain amount that you do?
It really depends. It depends on what the question is.
Okay. So it's not like Uno where it's like all deck 7 cards.
You're hilarious. You did not just bring Uno.
No, it really depends on the amount of conversation you want to have with the tarot cards. You could easily have a conversation with one card, but if you want more, for example, like us three, we're having a conversation. You could say, hey, Crystal, how was your day? And I could say, it was fine. I could say, it was fine. But Sam could say, oh, hey, but explain what was fine about your day. What did you see? What were the people that you met? And then that's when each card comes out.
Pause. No, it's all right. Just keep going. Oh, sorry. We just had like a little hiccup, but we're good.
Oh, good.
Keep going.
So it really the amount of cards is just dependent on what it is that you, as both the reader and the readee, whoever, wants to have. I mean, because at least from my end, and I mean, every tarot reader is different. For me, it is a conversation. So I pull certain cards because I have a certain tarot spread in mind. So what a tarot spread is, think about it as a certain questions that have already been thought out, and I'm just I'm pulling cards for each question. However, it could literally be as organic as us three having a conversation, and I'm just pulling whatever cards come out.
Okay, so based on a question or based on what we're talking about.
I've seen readings where people have as little as one card and as most as 20 cards laid out on the table.
Oh, whoa. So, does that mean, is there any significance behind that? Like, is there a reason why one person could get more than one card, or like, is there any significance behind the amount of cards that you get?
Well, no. I mean, it depends on who you're speaking with. If you're, for example, if you're just speaking with some friends and over drinks, then the same way drinks keep flowing, the cards keep flowing. But if obviously you're meeting someone for 30 minutes, then there's only a limit to as much cards that you pull.
I like that. So I feel like this is also very specific to kind of like your relationship to the person that you're reading to. So the deeper your relationship with the person, I feel like the deeper that you could get into the cards is kind of like how I'm taking away from everything that you're saying. So I feel like this is a very personal and like a very like intimate,
I was just about to
like an intimate type of gift, because it's like, you know, I mean, now that you're telling me all of this, like if I ever want to get my cards read, I want to go to you because you've known me for so long. I don't want to just go to like anybody else, you know, that I have like a 2-second conversation with.
Well, I will tell you that with tarot and tarot reading, the beauty is if you were to pick, actually, I'm going to end up probably putting my foot in my own mouth with saying this. I'm a believer of having the cards speak to you, right? So whatever the cards want to say is what is for you. However, it is the tarot reader that is interpreting these cards. And sometimes, for example, with us three, I've known you forever, so there could be a chance of some sort of bias that's going to come out. That is not present in the cards. That's just something that I might bring into the cards.
You're like making connections because you know us.
And it may or may not be conscious. I don't know. So there is some sort of beauty of, for example, speaking with a tarot reader that is a stranger to you, that you don't know.
Okay. That's true. Okay. That way you kind of get like an unbiased and like a very like straight cut to the point, and they're not like mixing in any, you know, personal feelings. That's cool.
But I'm not saying that I'm like that either. But again, that there's always that uncertainty or that element that always comes to the bag when I'm reading with friends or with family. And it is an ethical, or not ethical, it is my ethic to try to put those biases aside.
Okay. So obviously you've heard our podcast before and our many episodes, and our overall topic are like relationships, dating, connections. So what can tarot reading tell us about relationships or dating or everything that we've talked about?
Yeah, like just like, I guess,
like let's say
like everything that comes down with like love.
Exactly.
Let's put it like that.
So like for me, like I know for a fact that I obviously been getting advice from pretty much everyone in the fucking mother. And so I always wanted to get my tarot reading done, or like having a third party just tell me like when the fuck am I going to get married, or when the fuck I'm going to get in a relationship. So in terms of like, let's say kind of like doing my own little research prerequisite, like what can the tarot cards tell me about my or anyone's like relationships, love relationships, or future past, or like what can they tell us based on that layout that you have?
It's a great question. So before I even answer that, I want to talk about the power, I guess, or the power of tarot. So think about
Okay.
tarot as a tool.
Okay.
Right. When you build a house, what do you have? You have a hammer, you have a screwdriver, you have a what is this called?
A saw.
A saw.
Like,
You have
gesture and a saw.
So you have different tools needed to build a house.
Yeah.
Right? So think about tarot. I mean, at least for me, when you ask me what's inside my tool belt, I have a tarot deck.
Got you.
When you ask me what's inside my tool belt when it comes to talking about your conscious and who you are as a person, I'm going to say I have my tarot deck. That is the tool in my tool belt. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. So tarot is a key. It is a mirror, if you will. It is all these things, and it's used for guidance and to connect those with their soul, with their intuition and their inner wisdom. Every tarot card every tarot card is a reflection of our human experience. Typically tarot cards have 78 cards in them, but you best believe that every card was thought out to be kind of a reflection of us. So as much as we try to separate ourselves from our spirit, or as much as we try to separate ourselves from a quote unquote mystical object such as tarot, because I know that's not for everyone, especially when you come from religious backgrounds, which I definitely did. It does not negate the fact that we meet our lives in tarot, because that's just the way it's been structured. Now, when it comes with relationship, tarot is a great resource because it will provide think about it as a close-in view, a camera lens, a vignette kind of view as to what is going on, what energies are at play, and what can be done about it.
I love that. That's really,
I got the tingles.
yeah, I feel like that's just.
Did you really?
Again, I just feel like tarot is just like such an intimate thing. And I feel like, like I said at the very beginning and in our intro, I feel like this was just so long overdue, because like these things just go so hand in hand, like the things that we talk about and how we can get that perspective from your cards. So
it's also like a third party to tell us, like, instead of like someone else giving the advice.
Right, because like I feel like a lot of the times, and like I've mentioned that before, in a couple of episodes, where I feel like we play therapist to each other, but I know nothing better than she does, and she knows no better than I do. So I feel like sometimes in some situations we could easily be going into circles, when it comes to just like giving each other advice, and then like that doesn't work, and then more advice. It's just like,
well, same thing to you. Like Crystal gives me advice too, and it just goes out.
So yeah, so I feel like now, rule of thumb for like our friendship, if we ever have like any debating factor or anything, just like coming into play, it's like, bring in the tarot cards. Come on, we need that. We need that unbiased, just like neutral, mystical, theory coming in.
But there needs to be a 79th card that says Sam is always right.
I think that's the one card that the deck should not have, because that's not true.
It should always say Sam is always right.
No. But anyways, go ahead.
Before you continue, I mean, I am a tarot reader. I read for everyone. I'm reading for you too. But I also want you to realize that the magic of tarot, like, you too already have it. You already have it. You don't have to search outside of yourself.
Everybody could be chosen.
You're so chosen.
Right? Like, that's what you mean? Like, you're not just a chosen one. Like, it could easily, like, if Sam were to really get into it,
if Sam did not lose her tarot deck, I'm sure she would have a blast reading your cards or her own cards.
I have to check, because I got a little deck, like a beginner's deck on that trip in New Orleans, and I'm not sure. Like, from the move from New York, I'm really not sure. So I have to dig. I have like a couple of little storage bins under my bed, and I have to check. And girl, if that's there, we're gonna start practicing. get some stuff together. But I do want to get started on like the reading and everything. See, you know, kind of just, I'm excited.
Let Jen go first because she has more power than
I'm going. I'm feeling it, so I'm excited.
So I think I'll let you face her more.
No.
So that way you guys have more power.
No, let's stay like this.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, before I jump into the reading, would you want me to, I guess, point out certain cards that I feel or that are my favorite that talk about relationships and love?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, however you feel like it would be, I guess maybe like the cards that you pull, like maybe like what your thoughts on it are, and then like if there's just like a very textbook definition of what they are based on like when you read tarot and like maybe like the difference. I mean, I don't know, we'll flow with it based on like what the information you give us.
And also, can you do me a favor, when you pull her cards, can you take a picture of it, and then towards when we're done with the recording, and then we can just like use it afterwards?
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to talk a little bit about at least my favorite cards when it comes to relationships and love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the first one, the Empress. Yeah. You guys could see this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Empress to me is divine love. She is creative energy. She does, doesn't she?
She's all caramelly with her curly hair.
Freaking beautiful. She is creative. She is sensual. She is nurturing, and she is basically the epitome of self-care. At times,
I'm so connected to this card right now.
And it's interesting. I feel like I am so connected to this card, and maybe Mambo too, because we're both Taurus. And Jen, like, what sign are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Okay, so you're a winter baby. But at least, I mean, speaking from my experience with being a Taurus, we're very much in our fields. We're very much about that Venusian energy, which is what Taurus, the planet of Taurus is ruled by, which is Venus. So it's all about being in yourself. It's about self-indulgence. It's about self-care. At times, this particular archetype, the Empress, she could be overbearing, but she is decadent and she indulges in pleasure. Of course, again, because she's ruled by the Venus. But when I think about when she's overbearing, think about the mother archetype, because her job really is to cultivate creative energy and nurture creative energy. Does that make sense? So when you think about relationships, I mean, think about maybe how you, Jen or Sam, when have you ever been in a relationship where you might have been caring too much for the other? I'm not saying too much. Let me take that back. Just caring at all for the other. Maybe caring to the point where you might have stopped caring for yourself, or be in a relationship where all you do is care about yourself because you realize you are an important ass bitch, right? So, I mean, the Empress could go both ways, but to me, I really relate her more towards a mother figure. So you've heard about that, and I'm sure you've talked about it in your podcast, the type of person in a relationship that is mothering to the other.
Not yet, but that is an idea. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay, well, there you go. And I got more for you.
That's good. Wow.
Okay.
I mean, I guess actually, now that I think about it, all of these cards could actually be ideas for an episode.
Yeah,
right? So maybe have like
yeah, absolutely. Maybe we could like break them up and then just like, because I mean, I'm sure if I'm relating to it and you're relating to it, and Sam, are you relating to the Empress?
Somewhat.
Okay, well, like semi. Let's see.
Can I just say, pause? I mean, speaking from my past relationship with Sam, coming from the same college and being of a certain organization that's all about being fully involved and invested in the organization, Sam is definitely an Empress kind of vibe.
Okay.
Let's not talk about stuff in the closet.
She just won't. She just doesn't admit it. But I feel like I love that idea, like splitting them up maybe into the ones that really spoke to us the most at the end. Like we'll see. Well, we'll see where that goes. But I love that idea.
All right. So the next card that I have on my tool belt is the Lovers. You just get that a close-up view. So honestly, nothing evokes love at first sight in tarot as much as the Lovers card. It represents a meaningful relationship, one where energies of all the players are involved and are welcomed, one where each of the energies are true, honest, raw, vulnerable, and trust is a big part of it. When I look at the Lovers card, I think about where duality can exist at the same time without compromising.
Okay. What do you mean? Like it just comes naturally?
Yeah, like where you don't. Sorry, go.
Okay, so I guess in order to understand this card, at least, I was in the same situation, being in a position where I don't know what tarot was. So in order to understand this card, let me contrast it with the Two of Cups.
Yeah, I've seen that one before.
Okay.
So the Two of Cups represents harmony, it represents balance, it represents a commitment that was made of some sorts. It represents reciprocity. So unlike the Lovers card over here, compromise is a big ticket number in the Two of Cups. There is some sort of exchange taking place for the common goal of a peaceful, loving relationship. Whereas in the Lovers card, it's like, you take me as I am, and we're just going to exist this way. Rather, in this card, it's about, well, maybe I might have to give up the fact that I'm a little bit of an asshole. Not to be I have to pretend.
Okay. Well, don't you think that those cards are contradicting though? Because in terms of like relationships, because obviously like the Lovers is obviously love at first sight, but I feel like that's such an expectation. I feel like that's so like, not realistic, because at the end of the day, you may be lovers, but at some point you're going to have to compromise and come between some balance. It's impossible to be lovers at first sight and, think that everything is dandy. I think that's very kind of
didn't you say that it's not lovers at first sight?
But I said that, okay, so I guess to clarify, I meant the Lovers card as universally, like even those people who are not familiar with tarot, when they see the Lovers, they think of a relationship that is about love at first sight, or relationship that is the full embodiment of love. It doesn't have to be love at first sight.
Okay. I mean, I
do you know what I'm trying to say though?
I can see how you say that they're contradicting, but I definitely, I understand the difference between a compromising relationship and a relationship where you just make things work. Where you just don't, you fall in love with somebody for who they are, not for who you make them or who you change them to be. So,
well, I actually disagree with that, because I feel like, when you fall in love with someone, I feel like, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I like the debate. It would be boring if we're just like, yeah, I agree.
Because I feel like, like I said, it's been a very long time, like in terms of like me having that emotion of falling in love with someone. But I feel like, obviously, if I'm in love with someone, I'm going to love them for who they are. But at some point, like we're going to grow as individuals. We're going to grow as people, grow either together or grow apart. And at some point, that person is going to either has to accept who I am as I'm growing as a person and as I'm growing with them. So there has to be a compromise. So I feel like the Lovers card and the Two of Cups need to come together. It can't be one or the other. It has to be like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
What are you going to say, Oz?
Sorry.
I was going to say that you are in the perfect in-between.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like you're in between, because you want to compromise, but you also want to be loved for who you are. So it's like, you can't you can't say that you want to be loved for who you are, but then not love somebody else for who they are, and then want them to compromise for you. Like, that's where I say that you have to make it work, you know, without changing each other. But yeah,
I do want to note that, I mean, The Lovers is a reflection of relationships. I mean, when are you ever in a relationship where it's always this kind of energy of the Two of Cups, where it's always like, oh, let's compromise, babe. I'll do what you want. I want you to view me in this way. Sometimes it's this card, the Lovers, in the sense that, hey, I'm who I am. Take it or leave it. I still fucking love you, but I'm still X, Y, and Z in how you view me. And how you view me may not always be love and light and dandy. However, the amount of love is still there because we still love each other. Does that make sense?
Right.
Maybe.
That makes sense. I feel like I'm more of the Lovers type of gal. I think so. I don't really like, I don't think it's fair to say that you want somebody to love you for who you are, but then on the flip side, want somebody to change to match you. I feel like that's very unfair. When you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with all of their colors. And I feel like, of course, when it gets deeper into the relationship and things get a little bit more serious, those things could be up for discussion. But I feel like for starters, to have that type of view on a relationship, I feel like it makes it very hard to allow yourself to be loved and allow that other person to let you love them. I feel like, you know, compromise it gets like, it's like a sticky situation, I feel like, in the starts of a relationship for me, like the way that I view it.
Well, maybe that's why I'm so single.
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, the Lovers card definitely requires more work. And at least in my interpretation of the card, I expect more heartache coming from a relationship that is based on the Lover's energy rather than a relationship that is based on the Two of Cups energy.
Perfect. Wow. So my relationship is the Lovers. That's Fernando and I in that picture. But except our colors are vice versa. I'm the caramel. He's the whiter.
But you got a nice ass, though, Jen.
There you go. They just gotta switch races. That's it. Well, not races, skin colors. You're the same race. What's wrong with me? Anyways, sorry, word bomb.
All right.
No, but I completely agree. But I can agree to disagree at the same time.
I mean, there you go, girl. Maybe
that's fine, and that's okay. I mean, the beauty with the tarot.
There's somebody out there. Go.
The beauty about the tarot is that you bring what your experience is. I mean, just because I'm telling you what I think the Lover's card is does not negate the fact what you, Sam, bring to the Lover's energy.
But Jen does have a point where it's like I can't expect to have someone love me and then at the same time to like change them who they are.
Right.
But you know what? At the same time, it's like, you know, like I've been through so much. It's like, why the fuck am I gonna sit here and, you know, open my walls and be vulnerable to that and have someone change me when I've had that before, and someone who always tried to change who I was.
I feel like that's the number one reason why trust issues get in the way of a lot of relationships, and it's because like everybody understands that you have baggage and everybody comes with their own baggage, and I don't want baggage to reflect like in a bad light. I just mean baggage as like, you know, like your past, whatever. So it's like you being a person that wants to be in a relationship, you can't necessarily just like all hats off to me opening myself up and me being my truest self to this person, because that's not fair to this like a potentially genuine person who wants to love and know you. And it's not fair for them because it's like you're so closed up from your past relationships. Like you have to give a little to get a little. So I feel like, you know, it's hard in your situation, but you can't be a clam and just be completely closed down. You have to kind of like, you know, with respect to how to your own emotions, you have to open up and like just be a little bit more.
Stop smiling over there.
She's over there. She's agreeing with me. I see it in her
No, I'm smiling because I'm thinking about like, wow, like honestly, like these two cards could be
that is
its own episode.
Right there. We're having episodes on those two right there. That just like caused the biggest controversy.
Moving on.
Wait, but I have even a better one for you. You ready for it?
Boy. I'm like sweating. I don't know if it's because I'm hot or what.
Somebody read it out loud.
Why did we say that in unison?
The devil.
Okay, so what's this?
The power of the devil had us say it at the same time.
Shush. Dios mío, repent, I repent.
Okay, so this card may be one that you would least expect about when speaking about relationships or love.
Can I guess, like, as to what that card means?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Why not?
so the devil, it can be in multiple different things, not in just relationships, but in the topic of just relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the devil is the negativity that either comes within yourself or that comes within the relationship. Like what Jen said, like the trust issues, like that's like the devil. Or if someone cheated or you know, someone lied, like it's pretty much like the negativity that's being brought into the relationship, whether it can be from that person or to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I was not going to say that, but I do like that, and I agree with it. And I agree with it, but I want to take it one step further, because what you're speaking about is all these things in relation to the devil card, but you're kind of putting a negative spin on it. I mean, let me backtrack. Some of these aspects could seem as bad to a relationship. It could be as a downfall as a relationship. But aren't you better off when you find out your partner is cheating on you? Like, aren't you better off when it's that secret that comes to light that was hidden all this time? A part of me is like, is it really negative, or is it an eye-opening experience that you didn't know before? Right? I mean, you could look at it both ways. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the devil, it's both ways. I mean, the reason why this card, you know, kind of invokes some sort of scary feeling is because it has that societal connotation that, like, oh, everything that the devil does is, you know, bad. It is demonic. But at the same time, too, there's also that notion of liberation or freedom or some sort of enlightenment that came out of an illusion or delusion that you had. What I wanted to say about the devil card, Sam. Mambo Sam. Sorry, guys. She's always Mambo in my heart, but she's also Sam. That's her nickname to me. What I was going to say is that despite the fact that the devil card could invoke some sort of fear due to its societal and religious implications, let's think about the devil card differently, just for conversation's sake. Let's just think about it differently in the sense as indulgence or diving into a taboo, and dare I say it, BDSM, which could another topic for your show. Wait, did you just ask what is BDSM?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Girl.
What is it?
Hold on. Let me get a drink, because you literally asked.
What the fuck is a BDSM?
I'll let her explain. She's the, I was going to say host. Guest.
BDSM? Samantha, really?
What the fuck is that?
Okay, well, BDSM, that's fine. BDSM is an acronym that stands for bondage, dominance, submissive, sadism.
Think of Grey's Anatomy. I was going to say Grey's Anatomy.
What?
Sorry. Think of 50 Shades of Grey.
I've never heard of BDSM before.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Like with such shame.
All I know is that we need a longer conversation.
Yes.
To talk about BDSM.
For like different episodes and stuff.
Well, so there you go.
Okay, well, well, before I actually talk more about it, but like, you understand the concept of bondage? Yes or no?
Yeah, like you get tied up.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure. You understand the concept of dominance and being submissive, like insubordinate versus...
Yeah. the person
Okay.
who's obeying you. Yes.
Okay, now there's sadism, and then there's masochism. So in that sense, it's more about whether you feel pleasure from receiving or giving pain to some extent. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Done. We're good on that. So,
So back to the
back to the devil card. Our society, if you really think about our society, that we are really pushing towards monogamy. We're really pushing to relationships that are very, I don't want to say PG-13, but it is the PG-13 version of a BDSM film. It is, I don't know if you could let me know whether I'm making any sense here, but think about it as the type of relationship that is very stereotypical. You and one other person being together forever, and it's all about that quote-unquote vanilla sex, which I could definitely talk more about. The devil.
Sex.
I've heard that before. It's so funny that you use that.
So what does chocolate sex mean?
Ooh. You want to know what chocolate
Just
sex
wait,
is?
no,
Yeah, both of you guys just like coming out with terms that I've never heard before. Like, what
I'm
the
surprised.
fuck?
Usually you're the teacher in this
I
relationship.
know, what the fuck?
But remember, okay, I want to be clear. I want to be clear because I want to say two things. With the devil card, it's really about expressing yourself outside of society's normal. But it is also expressing yourself outside of your normal. So,
like out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone. So let's say for example, let's say out of Samantha's comfort zone, it is taboo to have sex on the first date. Maybe the devil card will show up and be like, hey, why is that? Is that more of a societal thing that you're worrying about? But if you really like the person, why not just do it if that's what you're feeling?
I feel like that's like good and bad shoulder characters, you know, like that type of like, I feel like that's what it is. It's like the devil is like the person that is like that voice in your head that you don't, that you hear in your subconscious, but you don't want to give into, so you don't, like, you kind of push it, keep pushing it back. Okay. And then the other, and then, you know, the good one is just like, go for it, go into your field, like do whatever you want, like, you know, that's more like, you know, that's interesting.
I like to think about the devil card as our ego being dismantled. We spend our whole life, every single moment of every single day, having our ego talk us out of things or have us or correct us into fitting some sort of notion throughout life. And the devil is kind of like, pero coño, why?
She got the Dominican side coming out now.
No, but seriously, like, why can't you be yourself, Mom? Like, why can't you be yourself, Sam? Like, why can't you be yourself, Crystal? Why can't you be yourself?
Like, just do what you want, do what you feel. Gotcha.
Yeah, so the devil, I mean, I brought this up to talk about ways of how to explore boundaries of your sexuality. And I only brought sex up because it's always a juicy topic, but it could literally, this card could literally come up in any facet of your life.
Okay. Well then, so it doesn't necessarily, that card doesn't necessarily link itself to sex. It's more just kind of like being more expressive or being more of like your true self in a relationship, other than like holding back because you think like, oh, maybe I'm a little weird when I do that, or I shouldn't do that. Like, you know, usually guys don't like that, or girls don't think that that's hot or whatever. Like, so it's more of just like really expressive way. Yeah, like really like diving deep and being like your truest self, or like holding back to kind of fit into those social norms. Is like, is that a way how that could kind of coincide for like a relationship? You know, not necessarily it being related to sex is what I mean. Yeah,
I could agree with that for sure. I mean, every card has different levels. I mean, what I'm giving you, what I'm presenting to you is just one level as to how the devil card could fit into the conversation. I mean, the devil could also mean being addicted to something that's not good for you. For example, being addicted to the same type of guys that literally suck. But for some reason, you always want to bring that type into your life, right? So I just brought one perspective, but there's many perspectives of how this archetype, as well as the Empress, as well as the Lovers and the Two of Cups could come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds lit.
That's, I mean, so other than that, like, you said that you're the Empress is your favorite card, right? And it's because you relate to her more, or is there another card that you like?
Ooh, actually I never thought about what is
Ooh.
my favorite card.
I wonder, because I would think that, a card that I guess you would see yourself in, or that you really relate to, or that you're just more of like in tune with, that would be like your favorite card, right? Because I mean, like, now that, like, sitting here, I'm torn between the Lovers and the Empress for sure.
Why can't it exist both? Why can't both?
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I'm just trying to choose one. I'm just trying to like make it harder on myself to choose one, really. But
okay.
I mean, so far of the ones that you've mentioned, like, I wonder, like, which one do you have a favorite one, or out of the topics and like the conversations that we brought up based on all the 4 cards that you showed us, like, is there one that would like spark in your mind that would be your favorite, or that you more relate to, or whatever? Or like Sam, while Crystal thinks.
Well, I think I am more of the Devil.
Oh my Lord, why did I know she was gonna say that?
Well, the reason why I say that is because I do struggle with my ego a lot. I have a lot of I've been having a lot of restraint. And what I mean by that is that there is one side of me that's telling me to curse someone out, and then there's another side of me that's like, you know what, calm down. It's okay. Relax. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So I tame myself and restrain myself so much, it's ridiculous. And I'm gonna explain why. So this weekend I was with my mom this weekend, and like, I can't be in the same room with her
because they're the same person.
Well, there you
legit
go. So and I can't be in the same room with her or spend so much time with her, because I would just lose it. Like, I would just go crazy. And or sometimes, like, if we're in a group of friends or something like that, and there's like that one person who really like gets under my skin, it's either I stay quiet and I don't say anything, or I just put it past me. But I feel like when the devil really acts out when I'm like really fucking pissed.
Yeah, where I feel like when this card, the Devil, shows itself in you, it's when you restrained yourself and you held yourself back for so long that you're just like a bubble waiting to burst.
For example, our last podcast, she threw me under the bus.
Did I do that a lot.
She threw me under the bus. Whoopsie. And we had like a game night, and I got really drunk out of my ass, and apparently I cried. Like I always do. I cried, and I started pouring my heart and soul into, I don't remember what I did or what I said. I don't remember. I know I did break something.
And I feel like that was when the devil side, this devil card came out, and it was like, I can't anymore.
Yep, it just came out
because you had that liquid confidence, or whatever people call it. But that's interesting. So which one do you think you are, Crystal? Or like, which, not that you are, but like that you relate more to?
I see her more as the Empress.
Yeah. Are we right?
Yeah.
Out of the ones that I showed you so far?
Yeah, like out of the ones that you showed us.
Ooh, I feel like I personally relate. I think I'm in the middle. I personally relate to the Empress more, because I am definitely someone who wants to care and make sure that my significant other is doing okay. I want to make sure that they're fed. I want to make sure that they are coming from a place where they are sustained. And to me, coming from a background of, I'm sure both of you guys could agree with me, or relate to of some sort, coming from a Latina background, or the women in my family at least, were all about showing love through acts of making sure you're fed, making sure you have all your clothes that you need, making sure that
very
you have
mothering nature.
Exactly. At the same time too, I really will discard because I'm all about like, yeah, sure, I'll give you what you need, my darling. At the same time too, my orgasms count just as much as yours. My self-care, my
You always gotta do that, girl. Every single time we have a conversation, she always does sexual content to it.
pero ¿por qué no?
It's how people understand sex sells. People listen to sex, right?
Sex does
do sell.
do sell.
But that's that. I mean, yeah. As soon as I heard that, even though I saw a lot of all three of us in that card, I did. As you were talking, like I'm sitting here and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like I see myself a lot in that card, and I do like just thinking back to just our friendship and stuff. I do definitely see you as a very mothering nature. You do have that in you, but yet you are strong enough where it's just like, okay, wait.
She's the devil, bro. She is the devil. I swear to God.
Seriously?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Wait, is that what you're saying?
She's saying that she thinks that she is like she can be the
You could be both,
and she can be both.
Well, yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's let her talk.
I felt like a lot of for a good portion of my life, I've been in the Two of Cups energy. And it wasn't until I became more conscious of my sexuality and my pleasure that I actually started really loving the Devil card and really loving the fact that sometimes, the Two of Cups ain't hip. This is kind of probably the vanilla sex that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you want to bring something into the mix that was different. Sometimes I want to bring my fantasies out into play that at first might have been just not cool because it just wasn't cool. Like that just wasn't a thing that
like
society...
nobody was talking about that stuff. Got you. But that's why I feel like I mean, seeing the Devil card as like a sexual card, I feel like there's a lot of that Devil card in a lot of us. So, I mean, I feel like it's more of like, I think your feelings in the moment and how you're like feeling in that moment when you get that reading, that those cards will change, or like that those, that those feelings will change. Maybe some days you're feeling more of an Empress, and maybe other days you're feeling more of the Devil. So it's more of like where your headspace is, like what recently happened in your relationship or in your life or whatever that gives you like those different feels. So
100%.
I mean, all those cards where I feel like they were like just like a hit on the nail, honestly. And it's really hard to kind of, it's easy to think of myself in each of those cards, but I don't know. I want to like study them more and really just kind of figure out which ones speak to me more on a daily basis.
I think I'm more of the Devil, hands down.
Can I add? Actually, I want to add just one more card, and let me know what you feel at the end of it.
Okay.
I want to bring in this card, and I want you to tell me like what's the first thing that comes to mind.
I know it's Pentacles.
Oh shoot! Really? You cheated. Fuck.
I was close. I thought I saw
and Wands.
Ace of Wands.
I kind of have no idea.
It looks like a weed tree.
I mean, I don't know, because
what if, dare I say, what if it looks like a
truce tree?
What else?
This? What? Is that what you were going to say?
Okay.
The pepperwood.
Oh, see.
Damn, she got a long.
I mean, the hands are coming out of the clouds. So
the reason why I bring this card is because wands are phallic symbols. you think
I mean,
of,
I did say penis.
oh, I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's what you think about, but it's so relevant with the wands suit in the tarot, because the wands are all about energy, it's about fire, it's about connection, it's about passion, desire, sexiness. Like the Ace of Wands is sexy. Think about the Ace of Wands, and I'm sure, you know what, I'm gonna call out Jen and Sam both to call out a memory. I'm putting on the spot. Call out a memory where you experience an Ace of Wands kind of energy, which is meeting someone for the first time and feeling like a sense of tingle down your body. Feeling a sense of like, ooh, I feel adventure. I feel some sort of passion. I feel sexy.
Mm-hmm.
You feel fired up in the best way.
Nothing.
You
You're
said
not
loving?
thinking deep enough.
Nothing.
I mean, I could think of that, but
I'm so serious. Nothing. I'm really
well, I
serious.
mean, I feel like I could think of that just like in moments that I guess I've had a crush. And since I've been in a relationship for so long, like I can't really say that I've ever given into any of these crushes, because then that would be me cheating on my fiance, which I've never done if he's listening. But I could think of a time like, oh, you know, somebody like a good looking guy comes in, like walks into the room, and I'm just like, holy shit.
Or how about when
like, where'd you come from?
The spark.
I'm sure you feel the spark when Fernando does something.
I mean, yeah, but like I can't think back to when I first saw him because I was so young.
Oh,
like I feel like those feelings didn't really evolve in me until I just grew older. So I can't really think back of a time. But I mean, definitely like when anything significant happens in our relationship, or whenever we're trying to make like a night really romantic or special, absolutely. So that's kind of how that card comes into play, like just those feelings, those moments of like those feelings of just like, what did you say, like that fiery feeling? Okay.
You waiting for me?
Chris.
I got nothing.
No, man. I'm sure you felt instances where you probably went on a first date and
I feel like you're not thinking hard enough because you're like
am.
so caught up.
No, I just think that it's just more of like, you know, it happened. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Like, I don't want to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like it's done and over with. Why am I going to think back to
Yeah.
that time? I'm not with that person anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Like, why am I going to think about it? You know what I'm saying?
the fire literally has been extinguished. Like, it's done. Like,
Yeah, it's done.
It's been burned out.
like it's in the past.
Here's a perfect example. Like I mentioned in our last podcast, I went out on a date with someone who I used to date a couple of years ago. And one of my biggest fears was that when I were to see him again, were those sparks going to come back again? But literally, like I was talking to Jen about it, and, you know, I said it in the podcast, that when I saw him, it was just more of like, okay,
Are we talking about the guy we saw at the mall?
yeah, no,
Okay.
the one that I went to the Mexican restaurant.
Oh, yes.
So like that
I
was
don't know
my
about this
fear because-
person.
I don't know.
No, you probably don't. But what I'm trying to say is that like my thing for me, I know for a fact that I know myself where it's like if I were to rekindle a relationship with someone, I always catch feelings from before. But like this was kind of like a test of how much I've grown, where it's like when I went to that date, I just felt disgust. Like I was just like, why was I ever into him? I don't feel the spark with him anymore. So I just feel like, you know, going like in terms of spark, like I don't really like in terms of that card. I just recently I have not had that spark.
I mean, yeah, so I feel like that, I think that shows a lot into, like, maybe we could really look into, like, why that is and just kind of try to make that transition within yourself of the type of guys that you're into. Maybe, like, try to You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but we could explore that. But either way, I think we've learned so much, and I feel like we kind of learned so much about each other and ourselves, and just what tarot is as a whole. So I feel like this was super. I feel like I want to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. I want to know.
And I want to learn more, and then maybe we could do one where we just get like our own readings, and then just kind of see what that's about and kind of explore. Like, I want to see, like, will Sam get the Devil card? Will I get the Empress card? Like, will she get the Two of Cups? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited to see now that I know what these mean. Like, I'm so excited to see, like, if in a reading, will I get these? Like, just because we relate to them doesn't mean that we'll get them in a reading. So I don't know. That's exciting and something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Today was awesome. I definitely want to give a shout out for our listeners to follow Ultra Magica. She's awesome. I've been watching her YouTube channels, and they're very inspiring because they do have trouble sleeping. So she does a lot of like dreamers and all that stuff, as she mentioned before. So we'll put her link.
We'll definitely do that
the
one
bio
time too. Maybe go into like our dreams and stuff. But yeah, we'll link everything and just have it all there, and just like post little snippets of her YouTube video. That way you guys could kind of put a face to the voices that you guys are hearing today and stuff. But yeah, this was awesome.
Do you have anything to say?
Before we leave the part.
Oh no, I mean, just thank you for having me. And I mean, we definitely had more on our agenda, but because, we're three friends, so it's kind of like we're catching up, but not really. Like, we've always known each other. So it ended up going more than we expected. So I'm actually really happy to come back and come back on the show and speak and see, what the cards have in store for both of you. And for myself too. I mean, I'm not immune to any of this stuff too.
Like, we'll make this a series, absolutely. Like, this could be like a mystical or like a Ultra Magica freaking Monday or something, and just
Ultra
make
Magica
it
101.
Yeah, like just make it like a series or something. I don't know. We'll explore some ideas, but either way, definitely stay tuned and just check out Crystal's page and her YouTube channel and just really get inspired, like Sam and I did. So we'll leave it there, and we'll see you guys. Have a great week. Bye. Yay.